verse 12 to 17 of chapter 1 demonstrate Habakkuk's confusion and frustration with God's action. He confronted God. How could you do this, God? Why are you allowing this to happen, God? Sometimes we find ourselves in similar situation. What is God working out that does not make sense to us? We reasoned with our minds that there is a better way, a way that rationally fits into our world. And we say, God, you are not doing it the way I think it should be done. So therefore, God, you are not there. That don't make sense, right? God, I want it to be done this way and this way. You are not doing it that way, so you are not working. But that's how we pray sometimes, right? That's how we approach God sometimes. We say, God, I can't see it. You should have done this. By now, God, this thing should have gone out of the way. But God is still there. But how comes you not? How comes you're God? How comes you're in charge of everything? How comes you know me? I serve you, I pay my tithes. I serve in the church fully. But God, I'm still where I'm not. I haven't moved an inch. God said, no, you haven't seen what's happening behind the scenes. He stood up to God and he demanded an answer from God. Sound like Job, right? Want God to respond to him about his questions. Here's what he said. Oh Lord, our rock. And you know, he wasn't in any way bitter or sometimes rude. You know, sometimes you become so angry that you end up being rude. You almost want to curse God out. He still had reverence. He still had fear of God in him. He said, oh God, look at verse 12. Oh Lord, my God, my Holy One, you are eternal. The transformation of Habakkuk that stepped back and said, this is how God works. It's a transformation that I want to see in us in 2012. That our minds become like the mind of God. Go into the community. Befriend those who don't really trust church anymore. And tell them it's not about church, but it's about a relationship with a God. A historical God that asks us to trust him and live